All right, here we are live. It's steak night here in Mudbrook. Gonna make myself some nice steaks. I got company over here for deer hunting season. So I'll fry up a big pan full of steaks. I got some baked potatoes in the oven. Hopefully they'll be done. Don't know how long they're gonna take in that oven, but they should be fairly close to being done. And yeah, I'll give her just a minute here, say hi to everybody quick, and then we'll go over and start cooking. Anyway, Cynthia's here. Rick Green, Pat Z, good to see you guys. Chris Salverson, Fuzz is here. Billy Lee, good to see you. She's folding clothes. Let's see here. Rick Green has said hi to Hog Wild. He's here. You have a turkey nearly done. Be right back. Well, I'm about to start my steaks. So we'll have steak and turkey here coming up. Let's see who else we got. Jim, good to see Jim. I think we got most everybody that's left a comment so far. Raymond, Handsome Stone. Go back here a little bit. Ronald Coward, good to see you. Mark Sieber, he was first. And damn proud of it. Anyway, got the stove going. Got the cat over there. She's decided she likes to be underneath the stove when it's going. Nice and warm, I suppose. Seems like a good place. But anyhow, that's the first time I've cooked anything on the top of the stove. I have made a couple of loaves of bread, and that oven bakes really well. You can, it heats up good with a good bit gentler fire than my other one did. So the first loaf of bread I baked, within 10 minutes, it was already getting pretty brown. So I cooked a little too fast than what I needed. But the second one, if you saw the pictures on the Facebook page, that turned out really nice. And so far, I'm really happy with the stove. It heats good, and it seems to be a little bit more airtight than my other one. You can keep a slow fire in it. Like I said, the oven heats better. There's a baffle underneath of it that diverts the smoke when it's going around so that it makes two passes underneath the oven. Gets a little better heat out of it. I needed a drink there quick. Turn the smell-o-vision on. Well, I'll give it a try. I don't know if StreamYards has that enabled yet. Hopefully the stream will go well. YouTube has been screwy lately. They've been playing around with their ad blocker again. So yeah, it can be a bit of a hassle. Going to be a bit away from the comments for a while here while I'm cooking, so probably won't be able to keep up with the comments, but go ahead and leave them anyway. Talk to each other, and try and save any important questions for once I'm done cooking. All right, I think I will get to it. Got to swing my mic around a little bit. Try and get the mic a little closer to what I'm doing. And we'll see what the temperature is. You have to move, cat. We'll slide that over a little bit closer. Should be up around 650, 700 degrees. I got a fairly fast fire going. Yeah. Everything looks to be nice and toasty warm. Let me get some of these out of the way. Get my steaks out. Going to be using a big old number 12 Wagner skillet. Get that on, start warming them up. And we'll season up these steaks a little bit. You can hit them with some pepper. Salt. My little salt grinder up and died on me, but it still holds salt. Get a little salt on them. And where to go? A little bit of Tony's on there. Pat them down, flip them over, and I'll get the other side. Tony's pepper. And the salt. Okay. Get that over where she's good and hot. And we will start warming things up. Get myself organized again here. I can get some of this out of the way entirely. Check and see how my fire is doing. Needs just a little bit more. Oh, I want that open. One thing I do miss a little bit was that front door on my other stove, because if you had something cooking on the stovetop, you could just flip the door down and shove the wood in through the front, which worked out pretty good. Let me grab my towel. Put that over here. Warming up pretty good already. And I think we can start melting my clarified butter. It's going to take quite a bit because this is a big pan. Let's see, probably hit her with some more. And we'll see what that gets us. That should be enough. Got somebody giggling upstairs. I don't know if you can hear them or not, but that's fine. I'm not really familiar with the top of this stove all that much, so I don't know where the hottest spot's going to be. I think it might be best off once I get that heated up good, just to set it right over an eye. I think I'll set it over the one in the back. I want to get that good and hot. So that they sear real nice. You want to get it heated up till your oil kind of shimmers a bit when you swirl it around. Just about there. You don't need it to be smoking, but close to it. A little bit more, and I think we can throw the steaks on. Yeah. Get rid of my dirty plate. Have my clean one sitting there. Yeah, if you do hear voices, don't worry about it. It's just a sign you need to get your meds readjusted. And we'll let them cook a little bit. Get that side seared off nice. Shouldn't take very long. What I want to do is open my damper in the back a little more. Probably should have done that already. But the flame will be roaring right along pretty quick. And like I said, I'm hoping my potatoes will be done. Let me check on them quick. Oh yeah. And we're doing good. I'll give you a little shot of more of the stove. Here's what it looks like with all the trim and the feet on it. A little better than it looked last time around. Like I said, there weren't any real actual repairs that I needed to do on it, but it did need a lot of screws tightened up and some replaced. Some were missing, and ones that wouldn't tighten had to be cut out and replaced. So it was a bit of monkeying around, but like I said, there weren't any substantial repairs that needed to be done. Just a matter of getting it set up, and here we are. Get in just a little bit more. This also has a little bit different damper to divert the smoke around the oven. On my old one, it was a slider. There's a slider here, and you slide that back and forth. This has a flapper, and there's a little thing right there. I'm not sure how good you can see that. But you pull that up or you set it down, and that opens and closes the damper for the oven. I'm going to flip these. Yeah, I'm looking nice. Move him over there. Let them guys cook for just a minute or so. Take a quick look at the comments. I got the old one sold. Not yet. I haven't taken it over there. That'll be after they're closed all this week. The stove had to agree with envy. I see what you did there. Creaky doors and hear your laughter in the background. Yeah. That's pretty stove. Yeah, it is. That's just a beautiful thing. Like I said, as soon as I saw it, I had to definitely get it. And luckily, I got it at a decent price. What's in the jar? That's clarified butter. That's pretty much what I use for all of my frying. Hopefully you can hear me. I'm kind of facing away from the mic right now. Gary Henning smoking the turkey. I used to smoke turkeys, but they're a bitch to keep lit. Yeah, you want to trick a wood stove? They're out there. I mean, keep an eye open. Look at local auctions, old farm auctions. They're definitely around. Antique shops are usually pretty expensive in an antique shop, and usually they're not. They're more for display than anything else. If you get them there. But as you can see with this one, there's definitely some damn nice stoves out there at pretty reasonable prices. Let's see how these guys doing. I'm gonna move this guy towards the middle. I want to It can be a little challenging sometimes finding the hottest part of your stove. Like I said, this is the first time I've cooked anything on the top of this, so I don't really know where the best spot is going to be. Getting close. Won't need a whole much more. Is that Woodsy here? Yeah, he's upstairs. What pan am I using for the steak? That's a number 12 Wagner stylized logo with a heat ring. Back from the 1920s. Thick sausage here. How you doing, thick? I do believe we're just about done. Yeah, those feel pretty good. All right. Start unloading these guys. Let's see here. Now, I'm going to fry up some mushrooms quick. What I usually do with them, these are canned mushrooms because I'm lazy. I'll pour off most of the extra grease. I'll leave some in there though. Oh, yay much. And these are just canned mushrooms. I drain them off, but I leave a little bit of liquid in there to help deglaze the pan. Get all that goodness off the bottom. And Jesus, that cooled it right down. That's okay. I think I want this up front. That really cooled the pan off. A lot more than it usually does, but should warm up here pretty quick. And I gotta get a bowl for them anyway, because as always, I have forgotten something. Let me see here. I want a bowl about this size. And I want my fire to kick up again. I'll pull these coals forward a bit. Where's my flames going? I think I'm best off right here. There we go. Might have left a little bit too much water on them, but they will cook down here in a minute. Let's see, set that down. Let me throw these away quick. And I'm starting to speed up again. Let those get going here. Back to the comments. Medium well works too. Those should be about medium. Using the old poke test. Looks like going for medium. Yeah, it's about what I go for. Medium rare to medium is the way I like it. That's what I usually do with them. Told your wife you ordered your Christmas gift from her. Number 9 small logo Griswold completes your set. Ah, cool. It's nice to have a complete set. I don't usually worry too much about making sets. I'd rather have, one or two real nice examples of everything. And the trouble with trying to put together a set, there's always that one impossible to find one. Oyster Rockefeller casserole and persimmon pudding. That sounds really good. Bet that goes real nice with turkeys. Yeah, I can hear those mushrooms starting to cook around. Used to find persimmons around you, but not anymore. Yeah, I've never seen them around here. We're a bit far north for most persimmons. Yeah, I definitely left a little bit too much water on them. But as long as they're heated through, at least. There. I'm going to cheat a little, pour some of that water off. Just about ready for supper, Eli. Didn't keep my fire up quite as hot as I should have. But we're doing okay. Monarch wood stove this summer, driftless area drone. Found it doesn't take much of a fire to maintain. Yeah, same with this. You can have a pretty gentle fire going. It keeps the oven right where you want it to be. So is that a new? Yeah, that's a new cook stove. I just got that within the last month. Yeah, the other one was kind of a pinkish and cream color. And this one's green and white. Yeah, now we're cooking with them mushrooms. And I'll get my potatoes out. I'll drop it down a little bit so you can see. Almost done. Skins are nice and crispy anyway. Just about. So here, make myself some more room on my butcher block. Yeah, those are done. Let's see here. And I'll go set my pan out of the way. There we go. Alrighty. Supper's ready. But I'm going to stop the camera here for a second and move stuff around and redo my lights. I'll try to keep talking to you though in the meantime. Let's see, I need that one off. This one off. Lower it down so the cat don't knock it over. Come on down and get your supper.
Hey, here you go.
There's sour cream in the fridge. Other than that, you guys know the drill. I need that light off. You gotta have a million lights on when I'm filming something on the stove. When I'm sitting here in my chair, it's too much for to have just about anything on.
Really?
Yeah. I can never get the white balance right on that camera. And there don't seem to be any real adjustment to it either. Now, let's see here. Try to get this spun around where I need to be. I gotta move my mic. You didn't think this was gonna be fast, did you?
It's absolutely wonderful. I can tell you that right now.
All right.
Gypsy. That puppy.
Oh, the dog and the cat are going at it a bit. They generally like each other, but you just gotta mess around. All right, we're almost ready. That should do it. Yeah, those potatoes done all the way through.
Heck yeah.
All right.
Absolutely outstanding.
There we go. And we're back. The camera's a little cockeyed. That ain't too bad. Anyway, me back up here, and it's a weird camera angle though. Looking at myself sideways. So while these guys feed on down, I'll have some later. Who are we feeding? These two. That's Tony and Eli. There, you wave at the camera.
Hello, world.
Get my head out of the way so you can see you. There you go.
Hey. It looks absolutely amazing.
Pat in the bunker. Can't stay. He's working on a new wood stove. Just wanted to say hi. Let's see here. Back up. Put my glasses on so I can see again. That's always handy. Jesus. These are filthy. Anyhow, only thing that's been able to grow is pomegranate. All your other fruit trees died from the heat. Yeah, pomegranates are kind of a desert plant almost. I guess they grow wild fairly good out in California and the Southwest. I love seeing the fire when you lift the pan. Oh, Tony, you want to throw a little more wood in the stove there too on your way?
Not a problem.
Before you head back up. And use all the iron top fuzz. Hold on here. If you moved in with me, you could use all my stove and my firewood. Yeah. I swept my big chimney here yesterday. Got to get the heater stove going. It's turning cold here finally. It's going to be down in the 20s most of the next week for highs, which is pretty normal for this time of year. Yeah, mini mud starting shit. Yeah, she's feuding with the dog. Tony's got his chocolate lab with, and they kind of get along, but they just got to mess with each other every now and then.
I love this pepper thing, dude.
Yeah, that's neat. My little salt grinder died. I ordered up a couple of new ones, so once they get here, I got rechargeable ones this time, so I don't have to constantly change the batteries.
Nice.
Yeah. Does the clothes iron in the oven help maintain temp when the fire is low? No, I put them in there to hold the rack up off the bottom. There's a rail on the inside, but it's only about that far down from the top of the oven, and you can't bake bread on it. And it's a little bit too hot right on the bottom of the oven to set your bread pan right on the bottom of the oven. So I used the sat irons to hold the rack up off the floor a little bit. They had the cast iron bug. Well, Tony likes cast iron. He's got some.
Yes, sir.
Eli's kind of young. He's still living at home, so.
Absolutely wonderful, Catherine.
Yeah.
Come on, Brad.
But anyway, yeah, like I said, I'm really happy with the way that stove cooks so far. I'll have to do a fair bit more frying. Might be deer hunters. Yeah, they are. They're hunting deer because it's Holy Week in Wisconsin when the deer hunting season is on. The gun deer season runs from the Saturday before Thanksgiving till the Sunday after. Is that storage on top of the stove? Those are warming ovens. You can put food in there, keep it warm. It's not really hot enough for cooking per se, but they'll keep your stuff warm, and you can store stuff up there too. I usually got bits and pieces. That reminds me, last week somebody mentioned they had a Majestic wood stove. Either they had one or they were getting one. If that was you, speak up and let me know, because I have I thought I ain't the one, but I can reach it. I've got one of these. That's the handle for the shaker grates, and it's a Majestic. I mean, it's got the Majestic name on it. It's not this one. It's plain iron. It's a bit rusty, but it if somebody has a Majestic stove, I'd be willing to let you have that Majestic stove shaker handle for it. Most wood stoves have shaker grates on it. You put that on the end of one of the grates, and you shake them back and forth, shakes the ashes out of them. Billy Lee has a Majestic. Oh, all right. Yeah, I don't know what the hell I did with it. I thought I had it right here. I was going to show everybody. But yeah, Billy Lee, if you got a Majestic stove, I can definitely let you have that. When you moved to Pennsylvania, you had no idea about deer culture. Businesses were closed. First day of the season, schools were closed. Yeah, when I was in high school, it's a small town high school. There's only, it's a town of, it's 500 now. It was less than that way back then. But a lot of times they would just shut down for the whole week of Thanksgiving because, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday they had school. You're going to be off Thursday and Friday anyway. And those days, usually half the students and a good portion of the teachers would go out hunting, so there's hardly anybody there. So it's kind of pointless. And they went back and forth on that for quite a while, whether or not you'd have to, make up and, do your makeup work beforehand and take those days off of school, or if they just shut the damn place down. And they finally gave up and shut it down. And it was like that for years and years. But the state changed the requirement for the number of days of school you have to have. And it didn't work out anymore because you would have had to run the school year longer, and you only get so many snow days. What they did actually is they used a couple of snow days that they were allowed to, for the extra 3 days off. And it just, it wouldn't work anymore. So now, kind of stupid. You still the same thing. Most everybody's gone, but you end up having to still have the 3 days of school scheduled. And yeah, a lot of businesses, they'll shut down for it's Thanksgiving anyway. But a lot of businesses will just shut down for the week, or at the very least, opening weekend. Thanksgiving is shark fishing week in Galveston. That sounds like fun too. Gun season in Ohio is the Monday after Thanksgiving for a week. Had time off for hunting as well in the Upper Peninsula. Yeah, like I said, small towns, there's hardly anybody in the school during that week anyway, so they just gave up on it. Yeah, that handle, it's a bit rusty. You'll have to clean it up, but it's a genuine majestic shaker handle. Debbie has to leave. Nice to see you anyway, Debbie. Hopefully, have a good time. Yeah, anyway, overall, I'm pretty happy with the stove so far. It'll take a bit more getting used to cooking on top of it. Did pretty good the first time around. Like I said, I'll have to find where the hottest spots are. It's different than my other stove. The hot spots seem to have moved around a bit. But other than that, it really bakes nice. I mean, I do like the way it bakes. Like I said, you can have a lot smaller fire. It's a little easier to control than the other one. You had to have a little bit bigger fire to keep the temperature up, and it was a little harder to control with a big fire. But with the small one, the oven really heats good. Like I said, there's a baffle underneath the oven, so the heat has to make two passes around it. I remember the large shaker on the huge wood stove. We heated the old farmhouse. That and the smell of fueling with coal at night, but not the work. Yeah, it's a bit of a chore burning wood. You always gotta have it on hand before winter. So it's a big push in the fall because I mean, who the hell wants to go out cutting wood in the middle of summer when it's hot and humid out? Do you heat that part of the house with that stove? Yeah, right now I'm heating pretty much the whole house. It isn't. I mean, it's turning cold, but it's not all that cold. I mean, what is it? It's 20 degrees outside right now, and that alone will keep the house pretty decent temperature. But it's going to be a little bit colder here the coming days, so I'm going to have to get the big stove all cleaned out and fire that up. Like I said, I swept the chimney, but I still have to clean out the stovepipe, and I gotta clean out the stove and get everything all squared away with that. Move the box of fireworks that's sitting next to it. Probably be a pretty good idea to get those away from the wood stove. Make for a hell of a display inside, but yeah, you'd probably set something on fire. Wood and coal is a constant heat. Very hard to get used to propane. Not that cold 20s.
Holy smokes, that was amazing.
Oh, thank you. Hopefully you left some for me.
Maybe.
Yeah, we'll see. I have to thaw something out and make another one, I guess. Did you have to do a round of seasoning on the stovetop? Yeah, I used some stove black on it, stove polish. Seemed to have taken it pretty good. The other one, my other stove, when I stove blacked it, it just wiped right off. Basically, it didn't really take. The stove polish has got some oils in it, and some graphite, and that's what makes it black. But the graphite doesn't always hold real good. We'll see how this holds up. If you got to polish it once or twice a year, that'd be okay. 20 degrees, no thank you. It was in the 80s last weekend. Yeah, it's going to turn colder here, starting tonight actually. And it'll be down around, 10 single digits during the night and highs in the 20s. Like I said, it's pretty normal for this time of year. But yeah, this, the top on this seems to have taken that stove polish pretty good. I tried seasoning my other one, and it would be too hot to just burn right off because the top of the stove gets up around 700 degrees or so. And the graphite won't burn off, but it does wipe off if it doesn't get a really good grab. $60 there, but it took a while to get there. It's turning colder everywhere. Not necessarily terribly cold. I'm trying to think of what my next big cooking thing in the stove will be. Like I said, it's the baking works really nice. Probably do a bit more of that. You can tell how it's going to go making bread. So I'm definitely going to try some other things in there. I should be able to do a real nice roast in there. I want to get a new rack for it. That old rack is pretty rusty. It seems like every wood stove, for some reason, the rack is rusted to hell. I imagine they probably weren't chrome plated to begin with, and over time, getting heated up and all, and getting heated up and cold, they get rusty. What's the stovetop compound called? Stove black. Yeah, they used to call it stove black. Nowadays they call it stove and grill polish. Most of them are water based nowadays. It used to be oil based, and they'd smoke like hell when you put them on the first time you fired it up to cure it. The house would be just a blue haze. But nowadays, everybody's worried about, oh, it's too toxic. Yeah. But nowadays, most of them are water based, so they don't really smoke like they used to. Just uploaded your turkey video. Smells awesome here. I bet it does. I haven't had a chance to send you a picture of the stove door that needs the pin. Yeah, I'll get send that one of these days. I'll have a look at her. The water kettles are cool. What brand are they? The kind of flatter, faceted one. That's a Wagner ware. I can't think of the series offhand, but that's a Wagner ware. There's a Colonial series, which is similar. It's got smaller flats on it, and it's a little more rounded. Where this one is, got wider flats and they're flatter. But yeah, one's a Wagner, the one sitting closest to the edge here. And then the other, can't get my, there we go. That one's a Wagner. That one is I think that's a club. I forget what it is. It's copied from a Wagner from the 50s, but it's not a Wagner. Is the original stove oven thermometer accurate? Yours runs about 15 degrees. The thermometer on the stove is numbered 1 through 12 on that. And it seems like they're 50-degree increments. So if you want 350, you want it running on about 7 on the dial, but it seems to be pretty accurate, fairly accurate anyway. As long as you keep it, so it's right in the middle, that's right about 350. But yeah, it doesn't have scale. It's just numbered 1 through 12, which I suppose is kind of handy once you figure out where you want it to be for what you're doing. How's the cat getting along with the dog? Yeah, they more or less get along. They'll snipe at each other every now and then. And she'll put on a show and arch her back up good. And hasn't really hissed at her yet, but other than that, they pretty much get along. I mean, they were laying down together the other night, so it can't be too serious. Too serious of a feud going with them. But yeah, I thought that was kind of weird the first time I saw that, that it was just numbered instead of having, a temperature, or some of the really old ones that said, slow, fast, very fast, or warm, hot, very hot. How much of a fire do you need for the warming ovens on top? Depends on how warm you want them. They don't get terribly hot anyway. I mean, they probably get up, 100 degrees. I put the thermometer in there one of these days to see just how warm they do get. They get fairly warm. They're not really for cooking, but a little bit too warm, I think, for raising bread right now. They definitely would be. It would dry your dough out. But yeah, I mean, they probably get around 100 degrees or so generally. Why couldn't you use the top as a griddle? You probably could, but you're going to run into a problem with, when you grease your griddle, you're going to have problems with that running down in between the plates and getting in your firebox, and you end up setting things on fire. But you probably could for, smaller things or something you didn't need a whole lot of oil on there. You couldn't now because it ended up black from the stove black. here quick. But yeah, you don't want to have your grease running down into the fire and getting things out of control on you. If nothing else, you just end up with a lot hotter fire. Even if it wasn't big roaring flame on top of your stove, you would definitely end up with your heat getting out of hand. Caught up to everybody. But anyhow, yeah, like I said, I'm gonna have to, figure out what to do with it here next. Probably won't cook next week, but definitely gonna do a lot more cooking on that. I have to kind of figure out what to make next. I think I'll do something in the oven, maybe roast chicken. I gotta try my wok on that. That would be a good one. See how the wok cooks on that, because I got I got a big 14-inch Lodge cast iron wok, and they work great. Yeah, that's Gypsy, the dog. She's drinking behind me. And they work great in the wood stove because you can take an eye out and set it right down in the fire so it gets really hot. Part of the, kind of the drawback to the cast iron woks is if you set them on your stovetop, it just heats a small part on the bottom. Well, setting it down in the eye, it heats it way up the sides like it would in a restaurant with a big wok burner under it. So, yeah, they work really good on that. And I like cooking on it on the wood stove. When is a contest to come out and have mud cook for us? Well, you'd have to pay the freight to get me there. And by the pound, that gets kind of expensive really fast. You wouldn't want that. That's what your cookware is for. Yeah, it, kind of nice to have it in. Wonder if the grill top of a Sportsman grill would fit over the eyes in that stove. Probably. You see a lot of them. They're sad iron heaters, is what they actually are. But a lot of people use them for griddles, and they're made. You'd lift both eyes and that little center divider out, and you can set that tray. It's basically a cast iron tray. And you set that down where the eyes were, and they were all different sizes. And it can be kind of hard to find one that fits your stove just right. But it would get the bottom of the griddle down lower and closer to the fire. And most people use them for, they were meant for heating up sad irons, but a lot of people use them for a grill and for cooking on because, they work great for that because they get a bit hotter than just setting it on top because you're down into the fire a little bit. You're thinking of grilling burgers on it. Yeah, I think it probably would, the top off a grill. It would definitely, even if it didn't fit down into it exactly, you would have that whole big open area. And, it definitely would definitely heat the grill up good. That would work pretty slick. Sure, it would work, anchor it. Well, it's, just the weight of it's not going to slide around too much unless you're really pushing on it fairly hard. So, going to Branson, Missouri tomorrow. Hopefully you'll find some cast iron. We'll hope you do too. It's always nice to get out and, get to different places. You'd be surprised what you can find sometimes. Get to places that you don't get to very often. There's still decent cast iron out there at decent prices if you just look around for it. Takes a little luck. Some places they want insane prices for it, and some places, they are pretty reasonable. So it's just a matter of shopping around. But yeah, I think I'll definitely try something with the wok next time I cook on that because, like I said, I like cooking. I love cooking with that wok on the wood stove. It really works good, and I don't see why this one here wouldn't work as good as my other stove. Do my impression of hooves. Yeah, I mean, well, let me see here. Trying to think of something that hooves would say. Really, something I say that I can actually get away with saying on YouTube. How's your oven looking? Real good. Like I said, that it cooks good. I made some bread in it. The first one, a little bit too hot in the oven. It wasn't really too hot. It was about 375, but it really browned it fast. I mean, it must have been fairly intense heat. I had a fairly big fire going, but like I said, the second time around worked a lot better. Had a lot smaller fire, and it heated up just as much. So, but anyhow, been at this for almost an hour now. So, gonna say goodbye here pretty soon. Go eat my supper now that I got it all done. Everybody else is eating. I can finally sit down and eat it, making you hungry. Yeah, it's definitely time to eat. I'm starving too. I haven't eaten all day. Let's see some Galabki. No, might have to look that up and see. But yeah, definitely gonna do a little walking on that thing here pretty soon. I think something else. It's kind of some of the things that you would like to make and show people how to make it and make it in the wood stove. It takes too long to do it on the show. Like baking bread. I can show you putting it in the oven and taking it out, but actually making it, you need to make a video for that so you can edit out the hour and a half, 2 hours of rising time that you got. Stove looks beautiful. Thanks for sharing your knowledge. Well, you're welcome. Yeah, that is. I'm really tickled with that stove. I love that design. The kind of rounded corners. It's just short of being kind of Art Deco-ish, and I like that sort of thing. But that's definitely a good. Definitely happy with it so far. Haven't had any problems, and like you saw how it fried, seems to fry pretty good. Bakes really nice. So I'm tickled with it, and it heats a little better than my other stove did. A little more airtight, so it doesn't burn up quite so fast. But anyhow, I'm going to see you guys next week. We'll be back with a show. Come up with something to do, something to talk about, something to show you. And yeah, I'm going to go eat my supper, and I will see you guys next week. Hope you enjoyed the show. Bye.